Welcome to another episode of Biohacking with Brittany. I am so excited that you're joining me this week. I am a nutritionist, self-proclaimed biohacker, and lover of all things natural health and healing. And I'm excited that you're joining me. This episode is really fun. It's with one of the new brands that I've been working with called Forest Spa Finland. And we dive into skin health from a very different perspective. So if you've been listening for a while, you know that I had my first experience of acne in 2020, like right basically at the start of the pandemic. And it was really difficult to go through because I didn't even really deal with that when I was a teenager. It was just like a very new thing. And it lasted about 6 months. And part of what I looked at for it was my internal environment, meaning what's going on with my hormones and my stress, what's going on with my gut health, and how can I kind of heal this from the inside out. And we talk a lot about that in the podcast today. And I love that because when I took that approach, it was very healing for myself. And through optimizing my body and thinking about it in a different way, I was able to kind of get rid of that, get rid of some of the scars, get rid of some of the texture issues I had, and really just help my skin. And we dive into the specifics of it and explain further what I did. But this type of approach can be really helpful. And it's kind of the same thing I do when I do work with clients is looking at this and looking at their food and looking at their environment and taking that like holistic biohacking approach, which I love. So I'm super excited for you to listen to this one. They have developed a supplement that is basically a adaptogen blend for your skin. So I've taken adaptogens before and I've taken skin supplements before that were mostly like vitamins and minerals, but I've never taken something that was targeting stress and targeting hormonal balance for the sake of healthy skin, which I think is very, very interesting and very smart. So I love taking it. I take 3 every morning. And even now, like when I'm taking it, I really notice a difference in my dryness, especially in the winter when we have the heat on and it kind of like strips all moisture out of the air. I really notice a difference in how soft my skin is, how it doesn't feel as dry or patchy, and it just is like much more glow to it. So I really, really stand by their ingredients, and we definitely dive into what they specifically are. And they have some cool things coming up this year too. So I'm really excited to see that. In other news, I am going to announce the winner of the free initial consultation with me. Thank you to everybody who left a review on my podcast on Apple Podcasts. I have all of them in front of me. And the winner is her username. I'm assuming it's a female. Her username is _Luna Solio, and she's in Canada. And it is titled "Thank You" in capitals with a bunch of exclamation marks. And it says, "This podcast is right up my alley. The content is incredibly informative and easily digestible. This podcast is a great tool for anyone looking to gain more insight to the habits, products, and environmental factors affecting our biology." So thank you so much for that review. And thank you for everybody who left the other ones. I'm probably going to do this type of giveaway more often because I really just want to be able to help other people become healthier, and this also helps the show get found more and just like increases its popularity, which is really helpful. So thank you for that. And the winner, if you're listening, please message me on Instagram at biohackingbrittany if you don't follow me already. And let's connect about your free initial consultation. I'm very excited. And so shout out to this week's sponsor for this episode, which is Sensate. Sensate is a wellness tech device that I have been using since last summer. And it's really cool because it's something that I actually can feel a difference in when I use it right away. So some of the other ones that I've tried, I haven't really felt a difference in, but this one I can really, really feel a difference because it vibrates like right on your chest plate, basically to stimulate or support the vagus nerve, which in turn reduces your stress and calms you down and really just makes you feel more settled and grounded. So I really, really like this. And I just posted about it actually recently too. So if you have heard of Sensate, which I know a lot of biohackers have, and you have been meaning to try it, I definitely recommend it. If you have any questions or like personal questions as well, like seriously, feel free to message me. I respond to all of my DMs and we can chat further about it so that you can get some more insight and I can support you through the process. But other than that, enjoy this episode. It's filled with little golden nuggets of information. I know you're going to love it, and stay tuned for another episode next week. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Biohacking with Brittany. Welcome to the new year. This is actually, I think, the first one I'm recording of the new year. New year, new energy, very much feels like that. And I am super excited to kick off the year with one of my favorite topics, which is healthy skin. I have talked about this in different ways before. And if you've been following for a while, you know that I have had really weird skin flare-ups basically since COVID started, like in the last 2 years. Things that I haven't really dealt with before in terms of like acne for the first time, and also a bit of, I don't know if it's actually eczema, but kind of like rashes as well. And so I've been really diving into skincare much more than I did ever before because I didn't really need to focus on it as much. And that's what we're talking about today. And in particular, we're actually talking about skincare immunity and skincare wellness and how we can actually create healthy skin from within. I have Daniel Collins joining us. He is the founder and brand director of Forest Spa Finland, which is one of my favorite companies that I'm using right now. So Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Brittany. Lovely to chat to you and Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. So I always start my podcast like this because I really value the story behind brands and businesses. So tell us, like, how did you really start your skincare journey and why did you create a product for it?
Yeah, thank you. So there's a few reasons actually, Brittany, and I have worked for many years in the big beauty brands that you guys all know. So in all my experience, I've spent a lot of time working with the evolution of the skincare industry, seeing a lot of changes, new ingredients, new concerns from consumers and new ways of shopping. And actually, when I decided to take a slightly different direction in my own career, I really wanted to create my own skincare brand. I'd had that kind of burning in the back of my mind for a long time, and I had a few ideas. So, and interestingly, you mentioned the start of the pandemic, because that was just about the time that I was ready to start to actually put things into practice and to build the business and to create. And interestingly, you can see from the name of our brand, Forest Spa Finland, there is a whole Nordic angle to the brand. And I don't sound like a Nordic person, but I have a Nordic partner and I've been traveling to Finland for over 20 years. So I know it very well. It's like a second home to me. And I had the idea of a Nordic brand, such great ingredients up there and such a great ecosystem. So that was the first step. But what really came from that was, just as you mentioned, was the turning point in all of our lives globally, which was the dreaded pandemic. And actually, it was a really interesting time for me because I was in the middle of researching the products and ingredients and different things and really trying to formulate how the brand would look and what the products would offer. And I think we very quickly saw a big shift from a lot of beauty consumers and skincare buyers who suddenly said, oh, I've been trying to fix my skin for a long time with quick fixes. It's something I want to peel, and I want something that's going to work fast, and I want to look good for a selfie, and when I'm out with my friends and on holiday. That's how we thought of skincare. We wanted to look good with as minimal effort as possible and things that gave a quick result. And you look at all of the big beauty brands and they were telling you, oh, your skin will be 35% smoother in 2 weeks and all of these kind of things. And I think that turning point when we really got into the pandemic was people said, actually, I'm really a lot more focused on my health. That suddenly it shot to everybody's priority. We were all working at home. We were all kind of not able to go to the gym and do all the things that made us feel good. we stopped taking selfies and we started taking pictures of what we were cooking. People's minds really shifted, and I think people looked more inwards and they wanted that more of a connection with their own personal well-being. And I think it just became the priority for people. And so that kind of caused, for me, that kind of pivot, not too far away from what I was planning, but really to think about, okay, so we're seeing big shifts with people here, and actually they're good shifts. They are people thinking more seriously about what they're doing and what they're putting in their bodies and what the impact is and what ingredients they're using. People were spending, I think, a lot more time researching things. And I think the expectation on what people were buying did change a lot. And I even know that just from talking to my friends who said, oh, yeah, I used to just use something quick and I'd buy that. Then they were suddenly saying, now I'm spending time researching ingredients. I really want to know what are the cleanest ingredients, what are the natural things, and what's really going to work for me. So that, in a nutshell, was kind of the part of the inspiration behind the brand, but also the direction that we took in coming up with the products that we are already selling and new ones that we're making today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that as well. I think the average consumer is much more educated than we once were. And it just comes with, like you said, just having the pandemic, but also just having the internet at our fingertips, right? Every time I buy a product now, whether it's a topical skincare cream or if it's a supplement, I research it so much. I read exactly what's in it. I read the reviews, and I think most people are at that point as well.
I agree with you. I think there's so much information out there, and accessing it is really easy. There are a ton of places you can get the information. I mean, you only have to Google something to get different views to begin with, to make your own choice. But I think it also takes it a little bit beyond the whole kind of world of the beauty influencers and even the in-store selling staff when you go to buy something. People love that kind of advice and they love the tips and those things, but they want to know more. They want to go further now. And they want to say, okay, so, I hear a lot about this ingredient, but what does it do? And where does it actually come from? What impact is it going to have on my skin, or if it's a supplement on my body when I'm taking it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what I appreciate about your approach is that it's not just put this nice oil on your face and everything is going to be good. It's actually a supplement first and foremost is what you've come out with. Your philosophy is, hey, you can have great skin, but let's actually target it from the inside out. And as a biohacker and as a nutritionist, I really appreciate that approach. And so why did you kind of go that way first compared to coming out with something that is more topical?
Yeah, so it was kind of deliberate. And actually, I was spending some time working with some great friends who have a supplement brand in Finland. And I learned a lot about adaptogens. I learned this whole approach and biohacking. I got fascinated with biohacking, and it's a really interesting topic. And I think that it's an educational piece for consumers to understand, but it's quite straightforward. It's about how do you look within you to really, really make a difference on the outside. And I think, as I said previously, people were quite used to putting different products on the skin. This will give you a glow. This will give you a radiance. But actually, you can find those things from within and you can make your skin the best version of itself without having to make too many changes. And that's where we really started with supplements. I'm a little bit obsessed with antioxidants, and we all know that great rich foods, and we all know the things that are good for us and that can have a great benefit. But when you really look at the kind of impact that it can have on your skin, it's amazing. And we used to talk about putting antioxidants on your skin topically, but actually, if you really, really build and strengthen the skin by using things that will support and protect the cells, you're on the right track. You're going to be much less likely to be prone to things like flare-ups and breakouts and all the things that set your skin off. Stress. Stress, for me, I think, is the number one trigger for all of these things that people have wrong with their skin. And people can spend years trying to put out fires on the surface, but actually that's coming from within you. So that's something that you need to get right before you can actually just have the best skin of your life. So that was kind of where we started with supplements. And I really deliberately, we've got topical skincare products coming out in the next few months. We've got some fantastic formulas which will complement the supplements. And that's really where I wanted to get it right. I wanted to say to our customers, get things right on the inside. Take a moment. It's very easy to take a couple of pills every morning with high quality natural ingredients that can set you up and really help to give you the antioxidant support and the adaptogens that can help with the stress and things like that. And then actually the topical skin products are going to make your skin just rejuvenate. So you're really going to see the vitality back in the skin, with redness. That's one of the biggest things I found is using the supplements, because I've had redness and things in my skin my whole life. But it really, really can help to keep it under control no matter what you're going through. Stressful times, busy periods. I recently went on a holiday to Greece with some friends, and I looked at my skin in the mirror after that week of holiday, and we had fun. We were at the beach and we were out and drinking and having a great time. But normally, by the end of a holiday like that, my skin would be red and it would be dry and the pores would be looking big. But I looked in the mirror on the last day of my holiday, thought, you know what? I have kept my skin under control, which is really good. That shows that you can make a difference just by doing something right in the nutritional side.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I was actually going to ask you what your experience has been and what changes you've noticed with your skin for taking this, because I'm sure you've been taking it for quite a while. But aside from the redness, have you noticed anything else?
Yeah, so there's actually several things. I mean, for me, redness was the number one, and pores, that was my other thing. Open pores, I think which do come from a lack of vitality in the skin. The pore can get a little stretched and that kind of thing, not being as supported as well. So that's been a difference for me. The other thing is just the brightness. Honestly, the vitality, the number of comments that people have made. And that's actually the first thing that people who are our customers that are using the supplements, the reviews that we've been getting from people are, I was getting my hair cut and the hairdresser said to me, God, your skin looks. If you can achieve that just from using some supplements in your skin, I think it's a good place to start. So I think there's a lot of benefits. I think it's different for different people. I think if you're an acne prone person, or if it's a dryness thing. I had someone comment to me that it helped a little bit with their eczema. I mean, we don't make claims like that, but these things can be triggered by stress and seasonal changes and how your overall physiology and wellness is. So if you can support that a little further, I think you can make a difference.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I've been taking it since probably for a couple of weeks now, and I've noticed a reduction in the dryness that I was
That's
experiencing.
Great. Yeah.
I just feel like in the winter we have the heat on in the house,
it's
and
it
just dries my skin. It becomes it's not itchy, but it's patchy and red, and it's not glowing. So now, when I touch my cheeks, it's not there anymore. And that's so amazing to experience.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
Actually, we use one of the key ingredients in the product, in the supplements, is pine bark. And it's a really interesting ingredient for helping with deficiencies in certain vitamins and things in the body, but particularly for hydration. It's a really good internal kind of hydration for your skin. So that's great. I'm happy to hear that.
Do you ever feel frazzled, not grounded, stressed, and like you have way too much on your plate? Of course, you should be taking time for self-care, but doesn't mean you actually are, and it kind of just feels like another thing on your to-do list. I have definitely been there. It's tough to kind of balance everything these days, especially for those of us working from home with extra side hustles and or kids. Stress reduction feels like a nice idea, but never something easily achievable in the moments when we need it the most. I believe in solutions that use science to help us be healthier on a daily basis, but without crazy technology or tools that aren't accessible or affordable for everybody. I use Sensate, which is something that I've been using for a long time now, and I spoke about a lot last year, which is a groundbreaking innovation in wellness technology that uses the natural power of sonic resonance to calm your body's nervous system, providing immediate, let me tell you, relief and long-term benefits from regular use. It calms your nerves and helps you feel better in as few as 10 minutes per day. It improves stress resilience to help you cope with whatever life throws at you. And it increases heart rate variability, a known biomarker of health and longevity. This is so important because for many of us, our body's built-in stress management system is simply just an overdrive. Sensate's novel patented technology was designed to send infrasonic waves through the chest to reach the vagus nerve that sits deep in the core of our nervous system. By speaking to our body's command center, we can control how we respond to all the positive and negative things that we experience each day, which is just so cool and such an easy biohack to bring in every day. You can use my discount code, which is biohackingbrittany in all capitals. I will put the link in the show notes, and it's on my shop page at biohackingbrittany.com, and you get $25 off today. If you have any questions about it or when you get it, please message me. I'd love to chat, as this is one of my favorite biohacking tools to use on a regular basis. Yeah, and I want to talk more about the ingredients that you chose to include. So you have chaga mushroom, you have rhodiola, which are both adaptogens, wild bilberry, pine bark, like you mentioned, and purpurine.
Pepperine, yeah.
Yeah. So why did you choose to have these particular adaptogens?
Yeah, so I was very focused on using things from the Nordic region, and that's because I worked with this great team of developers based in Finland, and they already make their own. So I got to know a lot of the ingredients from there. But equally and this is where the Finnish part really comes in, spending a lot of time up there, what you do realize is, and I don't know if everyone knows this, but Finland has been voted the happiest country on earth for a number of years running. And when you go there, it's not an obvious thing. You wouldn't say, well, everyone's running around laughing in the streets. But they have this great lifestyle approach, which is about spending time in nature. They spend 6 weeks at the summer cabin by a lake in the middle of nowhere. There's thousands of lakes in Finland. And the whole sauna culture. It's this, everyone has a sauna at their house or at their cabin. It's that whole kind of, and this is really where the biohacking comes in. It's that whole kind of rejuvenating yourself, spending time being connected with yourself and with nature. And there's a famous saying that they say out there that Finns always have one foot in they always have, that's where their heart really, really lies. So I think that is a lot of where the kind of link with the adaptogens and those ingredients comes from. So I really worked hard on finding and sourcing ingredients in the region because I know that they also have such a pure and clean natural ecosystem. They say it's some of the purest air and water on the planet. And I think that when you're taking products or taking like a supplement, you want to know that it comes from a great source like that. Interestingly, some of the adaptogens, like the chaga, for example, that grows at its best in the most harsh climates, so very northern Lapland, where they get no daylight for 6 months of the year, and they have endless summer for the other 6 months of the year. Yet the chaga mushroom can grow on the side of a tree and adapt to and thrive in any condition. So it shows that they're a very hardy kind of species, and that they really develop that adaptogenic immunity, which also then can help to have that effect in the body when you take it. And similarly, the rhodiola rosea, we know it's a great ingredient for boosting your mood and your energy and those kind of things. So that also gives you a kick when you take it. But then the ingredients and the way that it works to help with restoring energy in the skin, I think, are fascinating. So there's a lot of connection between the culture, the nature. Where my family or my partner's family have a summer house in the north of Finland, the wild bilberries grow everywhere. So I've been obsessed with those because they're very hard to grow. It's not something you can just cultivate easily in your garden. They have to grow in the right conditions, but they're so hardy in coming back every year and fruiting, and they're the most amazing, highly potent antioxidants. So they were a natural choice for me as well because they're also great. They give so much vitamin C, which really boosts the skin and the brightness and all of those things. So yeah, they were the kind of inspirations behind the ingredients. It was finding things that really, really survive and thrive. And when you look back through time, in the Nordic cultures, they've used these ingredients for centuries in homeopathic remedies and medicine. There's very early kind of sort of small scale research and things done on the longevity of certain tribes and people in the Nordics versus other parts of Northern Europe. And it can be down to where these ingredients are sourced from. So I find that whole thing really, really fascinating. And what I love about them as well is these are all ingredients that have a benefit on your body. So they have a physiological benefit on your well-being and your general health, your cardiovascular health, even brain health and eye health. There's a lot of things that are, or a lot of studies that are linked to these types of ingredients. But ultimately, we're in the game for skin. So I'm really pushing it past just you get a great kick from using it, but ultimately the results show on your skin. And that's where that ties into our overall bigger product strategy that we have. So yeah, that's kind of the inspiration and where we came to those ingredients.
I love that. I love how there's so many different aspects to it, like to creating this product. And you can just tell how much like passion and thought you really, really put into it, which is just so, like, I just love that. It's just so honest.
I've lived and breathed it for some time.
Yes.
Yeah. I've drunk the Kool-Aid.
Yes.
Literally.
Yeah. Something that like I noticed when, using your product and like looking at your website and different things like that was you use the words skin immunity, which I find very interesting because I haven't really seen that anywhere. So what do you mean by skin immunity?
Yeah, well, it's honestly not a medical term, so we're not going to go down that route. But for me, and this comes back to what I was saying earlier about the quick fixes versus strengthening your skin. The things that we do on the inside and having a low stress and using ingredients to help to boost and support you and all of those kind of things and protect the cells, that is, for me, skin immunity. It's helping your skin to be more resilient. And I think that in essence, so even like you were saying, when you normally go into winter, you'll find that your skin gets drier and the heating impacts it. But if you can boost the skin daily with this type of ingredient, you'll be less prone to those things happening. So I see that as a little bit of immunity. The interesting thing is when we're launching a serum, which is amazing. It is the most amazing thing. And I've worked in beauty for nearly 30 years. I can tell you it's the best thing I've ever used on my skin. When you combine the two products together, the supplement and the serum, we topically apply the similar adaptogens, not exactly all the same, but we added a few interesting ones like cloudberry, which is an amazing thing. And that applies then the antioxidants topically to the skin. So you really get that inside out. And to me, the whole thing is skin wellness. That is improving wellness on the outside by taking that inside out approach.
Wow. I cannot wait to try this serum.
I know, it's so good. Literally, there are 2 people in the world using it right now. The fantastic lady that's making it with me and myself. But we've just got the final formula, so that's coming out in March. It's very exciting. Yeah.
I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, I'll look after you. Don't worry, Brittany.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting too, like just thinking about the last couple of years and like how our skin has changed, like from stress, of course. Like I think for a while there, and maybe still, like a lot of us were under chronic stress that we couldn't really escape easily. But then we also are all working from home. And so we're not moving our bodies as much.
Yeah.
We're kind of in front of like a laptop or a computer or a phone all the time. So we're getting like bombarded by blue light on our skin, which isn't great either. So have you kind of like seen a change in, like, I know we talk about like stress impacting our skin, but like, how do you think that's really changed in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think that there's a few things. I mean, I think if you went back 2+ years ago, the big things that were impacting people's skin was the environment. People looking at pollution and all of those kind of things and how that negatively impacts your skin. Definitely going into the pandemic, it's the blue light. It's exactly as you said, the kind of lack of the same level of just movement and vitality that people have. Think about here in the UK where I'm based at the moment, we had months of being locked down, gyms closed. My dogs had never had so many walks in their life. But you're not doing regular things. And I think that was also a lot of other pieces because I think people were maybe not eating as well as they might have, or unless they went the other way and tried to be super, super healthy. But I don't think many of us managed that. So I think those have impacted, but you're definitely right on the blue light. And it's a topic that I'm really interested in. I know I used to work in Asia and I have a lot of contacts and friends that work out there in the industry. And that is it's a huge, huge topic for people because it is starting to impact. And I don't even think we know everything about it yet. But interestingly, we have a product coming out for that as well that's going to help. It's one of our products that's coming out a little further along in the year, which will have some filters for that, which I think is really interesting. So, but I think they're the key changes. But you're right, stress is the biggest impact. I think people have been stressed in ways that they've not experienced in their lives. And it's worry about so many different things, and that stress, we know, starts in the gut and it builds its way out to your skin. That's kind of ultimately the pathway. So I think we can do a lot to help, but I think boosting with supplements is a key piece. And I think that leads on I wanted to just definitely talk about that topic, because I still think for a lot of people, other brands are doing some supplements for skin. It's quite new for people, I think. A lot of people, even my friends, will say to me, oh, supplements, I take something if I'm not feeling well or if it's flu season. But, why would I need a supplement for my skin? And I think that that's a really interesting topic, because I think now a lot of people are starting to look at it as the basis for their skin routine. It's where your skin routine starts. So it's interesting. There's a lot of education still to help people understand why. And I think there's a lot of skepticism still for people as well. What's in it and how does it work for your skin? So we're really focusing on trying to help people understand the benefits and the positive impacts that they can get from it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I definitely think you're ahead of the curve with taking this approach, just because a lot of people don't realize that everything that you put inside your body actually creates the building blocks for your body, right? So whether it's food or vitamins or the type of water you're drinking or a supplement for your skin, that's literally creating the body that you see today. And what your skin looks like right now is a direct reflection of what you're putting inside your body. Of course, there's other factors too, like we've talked about, but it's so important to really take that approach of like, how can I build healthy skin cells through the decisions I'm making, through my diet, through my supplements, and that type of thing.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Brittany, and being a nutritionist is better than anybody, but it's also the one thing that we have a lot of control over, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a personal thing, we've got to own it and really do something about it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So do you see stress showing up in skin in different ways for different people, or do you think it typically has like a similar pattern?
I think it can be down to the root cause. Sometimes I think if it's stress, emotional stress and those types of things, I think that can have quite a hormonal impact on the skin, and that's going to come out as acne and flare-ups and those types of things. I know for me personally, I mentioned before that I used to live in Asia. I traveled like a crazy person for about 3 years, and my skin was the worst it's ever been in my life. And that was just job stress. I had a great job, but it was just the physical part of it, the sleeping patterns and the not eating properly, being in hotels. And so that can have an impact. So that's where you'll see the redness, the dullness, the kind of lack of vitality in the skin. And that's where people look at you and say, oh, you look a little tired, and that's where that comes from. So I think it can be different causes and different triggers for people. I think age can be a little bit of a factor as well, depending where you are in what's happening in your body. But, ultimately, there are things you can do to boost it and to just help. I think that's the main thing. Just try to help and do what you can to sort of keep things under control and to make the right difference for you.
Yeah. I think there's a lot at play. Like, I think for some people, it could show up as acne. For some people, it could show up as redness. For some people, it could be, fine lines or that type of thing. But typically, like, I would say there is a way to support it, and there is a way to support it regardless of how it's showing up.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's very much like taking a holistic approach and using adaptogens, and also just like stress management, like beyond a supplement. Yeah. Right? Like meditating or having fun. Like I was thinking,
yoga.
Or yoga. Yeah. I was thinking the other day of like, as an adult, I just feel like I don't have as much like playtime as I once did. And I'm like, how can I bring playtime and fun back into my life during a pandemic when running a business and working from home? Like,
so hard.
It's so hard.
Yeah, it's the magic question.
Yes, exactly. So, but we need to do that, right? Like, we can't just live this life in front of a computer and then die one day, right? Like, we need more to it. So,
I agree.
I
Do you know
think
what
it's,
else?
yeah. No,
I
go
was just
ahead.
going to say, Brittany, I also think that this has also come from the big change that we've all had in our lives. So this has affected everybody around the planet, no matter where you live. And it's our routines are different. It's what we have access to is different. We don't have probably as many holidays and things like that. There's a lot of things that are impacting. So I think you're right. The kind of play, the fun, these are things that have such a positive impact on how we feel and how, our overall emotional well-being. It's important to find it.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. What do you think people typically get wrong or there's like misconceptions about skincare?
So that's quite an easy one. I think people definitely think your skin is just the way it is and that's it. I've spoken to so many people over time and they say, well, I've got redness. That's just my skin. My mum had redness. Or I've got lines now, so it's too late. There's nothing I can do. And I think that it's wrong to just think that that's the cards you've been dealt with, because you can have a lot of control over it. And doing some of the things that we've talked about on the show today can make a significant improvement. I don't think I would ever sit here and say to you, well, I can make your wrinkles disappear. Quite frankly, nobody can. But you can make your skin look great. This is the key. Make it look at its best. Use things to give it a good boost inside and outside. And actually, you will have the best skin of your life. I think it's really as simple as that.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree. Like you can have wrinkles and like lines,
Yeah,
whatever, but still have glowing skin, right? Like
absolutely.
I can picture women or men who are in their 60s or whatever, like older, who have that glow.
Yeah,
Right? Like even if you think of
completely.
like celebrities who just glow, but they don't
They look
look,
themselves.
they look
Yeah,
themselves, they look their
yeah,
age or whatever. So
yeah.
I think yeah. And I also think it's very interesting that a lot of people assume that their skin is the way that it is.
Exactly.
Like I've always had oily skin. I've always had
Yeah,
big pores or whatever.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. There's something
And
causing it.
yeah, there's something
Mm,
causing it. And
mm.
there's something to be said about genetics and like kind of what is passed
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
But it doesn't mean that that's your fate and that is
yeah.
going to be what happens to you for the rest of your
Exactly.
life.
Yeah.
Right.
And I know
Um,
you talk a lot about sort of, what is it, where you do the blood tests and things like that to see what
mhm.
you're lacking in and things. Yeah, they're very simple things that could really change how your skin looks as well. Not only improving your insides, but that will have an impact on your skin.
Yeah. And honestly, we can even see this with like pregnant women, right? Like when a woman gets pregnant, she typically, not always, but there's like a pregnancy glow that we talk
Yeah,
about,
that's right.
right?
Yeah.
So previously, like I've had friends who've had babies now and whatever, right? And previously maybe they had acne and like these skin concerns, but then they get pregnant and their skin is glowing for months. And it's like, okay, why is it glowing? But it's glowing because their hormones have changed, their insides have changed, right? So
Yeah.
they've
Everything's working
created
hard. Yeah.
everything's working harder and differently. And also like when women get pregnant, they typically take better care of themselves, right? So
This is true. Yeah.
there's no alcohol, there's lots of like yoga, better nutrition, et cetera, et
It,
cetera. So
yeah.
it's
It's funny,
proof.
isn't it? That connects the dots really well.
Yeah, it totally does. I'm curious what your opinion is on certain like treatments that we can do for skin. So whether it's like Botox or Xeomin or fillers, like what do you think about that?
Yeah, I have friends that really go the whole hog on those things, and
Yeah.
I'm a believer of whatever makes you feel great is good for you. So if you look in the mirror and you see that thing and it really bugs you and you want it off or you want it injected or something, I'd say go ahead and do it. It's about kind of, I think, feeling comfortable in your own skin, literally. So if you need a little help to do that, I think it's great. I think that there's a lot of treatments that can really brighten and give you the quick fix if that's what you need. But I think I would love people to be more in tune with just what's happening in their body and just supplementing maybe something with some topical treatments and things if they need the extra boost. But again, you're putting out fires. Really, you're just trying to quick fix things on the surface. So start from within, do the right thing with some of the things we've talked about today, And I think people see a huge difference. But then again, I would not knock anything. I think there's a lot of great treatments out there, and they really do change people and improve people's confidence. And those are really valuable things that have a great role to play.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting because sometimes we're so stressed about our skin if we're feeling very insecure about it. And so getting some sort of like a treatment could really help with that, which in turn reduces stress, which in turn makes glowing skin, right?
Yeah, so that's the cycle, part of the cycle.
Yeah, that's part of the cycle. So I agree with you. I think that if it's going to make you feel good and confident in yourself, like go for it. But also, yeah. But also do these things like we talked about, like proper ingredients in supplement and be mindful of that type of thing. Will you create a product that has sun protection in it? Or like what's your opinion on that?
I do have something in production at the moment that's in development still, which is very nice. So I grew up in Australia, so I'm a big advocate of sun protection. Although I do also have this real thing about vitamin D.
Yes.
I feel like we need to get the balance right on those two things. And we need to use sunscreens that are good for the environment and not, that are good, clean ingredients to use. And that's a tricky area. There's a lot of changes, I think, happening in that area. But I think you've got to let the vitamin D happen in the skin and in the body. But sun protection makes a big difference. This is an external stressor. We talked about internal stress. That's an external stressor that is going to have an impact. And you can still get a great tan with an SPF. I think I'm surprised that people today still haven't figured that out. I spent a lot of holidays in Europe and nice beach places, and people really think they can just go out, forget the sunscreen, and just fry, and it's just the impact long term on the skin is dreadful. But a sunscreen can help just to get the nice balance and still get the nice holiday glow. So, but I'm definitely an advocate, and we definitely have something coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty like on the fence with sunscreen. Like I for the exact reasons that you said, I think that we shouldn't be fully covering ourselves in like a crazy high SPF and not being able to synthesize vitamin D through our skin.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, a lot of the sunscreens that you buy are filled with toxic ingredients.
Correct.
And they're sunscreens, they're not sun blocks, right? So they're seeping into the skin, they're disrupting our hormones, and they're terrible for our environment. So
yeah, that's a big one.
Like last year, every time the summer comes around, I look for a product that's like, first and foremost, natural based, has some sort of sun block. So like maybe zinc oxide or titanium, but I struggle with it because I want that vitamin D synthesis. So it's very like, how much?
It's a tricky one. And I think it's changing. I think that there's going to be a lot of change in this area in coming years. I think that there's a lot of natural kind of solutions and things. I've seen a few things recently that are very different. But then again, you've got this whole global kind of regulations around sunscreens. So it's very tricky for, I think, a lot of companies that want to try something new to get it through very traditional testing methods to be able to make claims that people can understand. So it's a big thing to change. But I think that the environmental side and the preservative side and some of the, factors that are not great in a lot of them now coming under the microscope. So that's a challenge for product developers long term, I think. But yeah, interesting what you were saying about the vitamin D. One of the ingredients that we have, because I was fascinated by this, actually two of the ingredients in our supplements do help. So the chaga mushroom is a very, very highly rich source of natural vitamin D. So I guess this is also why in the Nordic regions, it's been popular to use in teas and things over the years, because it does help to boost that in very dark times of the year. And the other one was, again, back to the pine bark. A lot of the research that we've done on pine bark, it does seem to have some natural protection and to boost the melanin in the skin to give some natural protection against the sun and the environment.
Okay, so if people are interested in trying your amazing supplement and soon to be topical skincare products, where can they find you? And where do you deliver as well?
Yeah, it's great. So thanks for that, Brittany. We are available online at forestspafinland.com. So we ship internationally as well. So we have free shipping in the EU and the UK. We do have a shipping fee to the US and to Canada and Australia, but we also ship through Amazon. So you can find the supplements on Amazon. And then we have a nice code and there's a free shipping, like if you qualify for it on there as well. So you can see that when you go via the Amazon link.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I will definitely put that in my show notes for this episode. And thank you so much for coming on. I just love talking about skincare, and this was just awesome.
Thank you, Brittany. It's been awesome. I had so much fun. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Biohacking with Brittany. If you're interested in finding the show notes or the sponsors for this episode, you can do so on my website, which is biohackingbrittany.com. Remember to follow me on Instagram, where I'm most active. My handle is @biohackingbrittany. And if you're interested in working together and you want to email me directly, you can do that. My email is info@biohackingbrittany.com. And I look forward to hearing from you and having you tune in next week.